Welcome to Comicstorian's Complete Story Series. Here we recap your favorite comic books so that you're up to date on what is happening in a very dramatic fashion. All alterations of the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now, this takes place during the events of Civil War II. This is what Sam Wilson was doing during all of the stuff that was happening between Tony Stark and Captain Marvel. If you're curious about the Steve Rogers Hydra thing, no one is aware of it, so he's still working in secret. So, let's go ahead and start. Sam thinks back to how things came to be, and feeling helpless. The feeling of wanting to do something, anything, and then it being too late. War filled the skies with heroes, and a war filled the ground with the Americops. The Americops brought law and order to the streets, whether people liked it or not. And Sam's hotline, which he started so that he can help people directly, is filled with nothing more than people reporting how the Americops are harassing people who didn't do anything. The man who started funding this whole thing is super billionaire Paul Keene, who received backing from Senator Tom Harold, who passed a bill that forces federal agencies to cooperate with these Americops. To top it all off, they also have Harry Hauser, a radio host who tells the public how these beatdowns are keeping their kids safe from the unsavory types. Wakeem, Sam's sidekick and the new Falcon, tells everyone that he got pictures of the Americops' beatings to bring them down. Sam tells them that they need a video of them doing it, and no one's been recording. Wakeem says, "Come on! The Americops are bad, and we stick up for the poor people." And Sam tells him, "I know how you feel, but we can't just be going after these guys unless we have proof. I won't be walking into another political landmine, especially not with that other thing that's going on." Not long before Civil War broke out, Tony came to Sam to convince him to be on his side, as well as Carol. They both wanted the current Captain America. On one side, Carol believes that Ulysses can see the future to stop crime before it happens, and she believes that it's a good thing, even though she doesn't know exactly how it works. On the other side, Tony believes that Ulysses is just processing an algorithm determining probability curves and risk levels. The only thing that Sam sees coming from Ulysses is profiling. So he wants to make it clear to everyone on video what his standpoint on the whole thing is. But during his recording, Wakeem tells him that he might want to see this. Sam tries to tell him that he's in the middle of something, and then Misty says, "No, Wakeem is right, you need to see this." With a loud sigh, he looks back at the camera and tells everyone, "You know what his position on profiling the future is?" No. He walks into the next room asking, "What's so damn?" And then he sees the news with another hero known as Rage on the screen. Rage was a 13-year-old kid who fell into some toxic sludge that turned him into an 8-foot-tall, super strong, super fast Goliath of a man. And with what's been going on with the Americops, his name explains his views. Out on the streets, the Americops stop a group of people and tell them that they are in violation of the city's ordinances in regards to loitering. The men ask how can they be loitering when they live here. One of the men then tries to push back, but one of the cops slams the man back, telling him that he's under arrest. Soon the crowd of people surrounding them begins to throw rocks and bricks, telling the Americops to get out of their neighborhood. And among that group is Rage. The Americops tell everyone that if they have an issue with anything, they need to file a complaint with the review board. Rage tells them that maybe he will, but first, he needs their badge number. He rips the badge number off of the officer and a fight breaks out. As Sam watches, he says that he needs to put a stop to this. Elsewhere, at a classified location, U.S. Agent John Walker leads a strike team to a known terrorist hideout. John charges in, knocking a group of men over, and as bullets fly, he runs through, beating the men up with his shield. One of the other soldiers reports that they got a call for him from Senate, and with one last bash of his shield, he tells the soldier to inform them that he's currently busy. Back over with Sam, him and Wakeem arrive to break the fight up between Rage and the Americops, but as he lands, one of the officers tells Sam that this is an Americops investigation. His assistance is neither requested nor required. Sam tells him that he hears them, but he would like to assist all the same. He then tells him that he would like to try and talk this whole thing out, and that's when one of the officers grabs a hold of his wrist, telling him that this is a formal warning. Sam struggles to pull his arm back, and he says, "Now this is what you don't want to do." Meanwhile, over in Lower Manhattan, John follows up on the call that he's received, and it was from none other than Paul Keene. Paul walks John down to his office, praising him on his latest work. And as the two of them enter, John is greeted by Senator Tom Harold and Harry Hauser. The three men continue to tell John what a terrific guy he is, but John stops them, stating that he's going to stop them all right there. All he wants to know is why the hell is he here? An image pops up on the screen next to him, and Paul says because of this man. They would like John Walker to take the shield back. And that's when we see that they are trying to stage something against Sam Wilson. Back over in the park, Sam tries to play out what the headlines would report if he was to do something. It would either state that Captain America attacks the cops, or Captain America was beaten by the cops. But before he can make a decision, Rage tells him don't worry, and he punches the cop. Sam turns around and asks, "What did you do that for? There are other ways to handle things, we can talk it out." And all of the cops begin to walk towards them, and Rage tells them they look like they want to talk. The officers all begin to try and take Sam in a rage down, but up over on a nearby building, Joaquin sits checking his Snapchat when Sam radios in that he needs an evac. Joaquin asks if his wings are broken, and Sam tells him it's not for him. So Joaquin leaps off the building, and in a quick swoop, he flies in grabbing Rage. After a short flight, Joaquin drops Rage onto a nearby cell tower. However, after Rage is taken away, the officers then throw an energy net to contain Sam. They begin kicking and beating Sam, and he thinks to himself how he might just want to accept the loss, and then he remembers he has friends out there. Lots of them. Pigeons start to fly down, building up a nest to protect Sam as he gets the net off, and once he's finally free, he jets up into the sky. That is, until the shield is thrown, knocking him out of the sky. Still a bit delirious from the fall, Sam reaches out for his shield, but before he can grab it, a voice tells him, leave it. John Walker steps onto the shield and tells him, that shield doesn't belong to you anymore. Sam looks up and John goes on stating, I'm just trying to help you out before it's too late. You need to turn that shield over now. Sam stands up shouting, did you not see what went on over there? And John tells him, oh, I saw you attacking people who swore that they'd protect this neighborhood. I know what it's like to have the pressure of the job. The whole thing of Captain America. I've been there too. Furious, Sam tells him, we are not alike. You don't see me murdering people like you did. John leaps forward, pinning Sam down onto the hood of a car. Sam tries to break free, but John just grabs him by the legs and throws him to the side. He continues beating on Sam, kicking him out from a store and punching him over and over again. As blood begins to fill up his lenses, Sam thinks that he may have an idea, and he wraps John's arm up in wire. He then takes off into the sky and he heads for an old train tunnel. John begins to shout, what the hell's the point of this? Flies both into a place where we can't see, and Sam tells him, correction, you can't see, and he flings John into a pile of metal. Sam then takes the fight to John, bashing him with the shield and knocking him down. Once John stops moving, Sam drags John back out into the streets. He begins to cough, spitting up blood, asking, do you think you're so much better than me? And Sam tells him, no. The man who was originally Captain America, even after getting his health back, told me to hang on to the shield, and I trust his opinion over yours. John just stares back and tells him, guys like you think you know everything, huh? Well, you never know as much as you think. After that fight, Sam takes off and heads to the hospital, one where Tony Stark tells Claire everything will be fine, it's just a tiny implant. Sam decided that it was time to accept Tony's implants that would allow data to be transmitted from his brain to processing into images and video. He asks if there are safeguards, and Tony tells him that there are, unless what Carol is doing. Sam just sighs and lays down on the operating table and tells him, just get on with it. A short while later, Sam sits in front of a camera again, giving an announcement. He informs everyone that he isn't happy with how the situation with the Americops and US agent went, but he cannot ignore the messages of the Americops profiling and using excessive violence. That is why, from now on, he will be monitoring the Americops 24/7, and if he sees anything that confirms those accusations, he will do something about it. But as Sam walks away holding a bottle, he can't help but feel like he's still in the dark, and he remembers John's words, you never know as much as you think you do. And on that note, he's probably right, Sam says to himself. However, earlier in Paul's office, after the suggestion of getting back Sam's shield, John tells everyone that he doesn't like this. This isn't his fight. What they need is the man who this belongs to, Steve Rogers. A voice tells him, I wish it was that easy. And Steve walks in out of the shadows. Steve tells him, I'm sorry for all of the smoke and mirrors, but this situation is sensitive. Even though I don't disagree with everything Sam is doing, he's doing it the wrong way. John asks him, why don't you just ask for the shield back then? Steve says, I hate to say this, but we both know what a white Captain America telling a black Captain America to stop being Captain America. The country just can't handle that kind of division. John tells him, stop right there. As far as I'm convinced, there's only one Captain America and it's you. He extends his arm out and Steve tells him, Sam is still a good friend and a good man. He just lost his way. It would kill him if he knew what I was asking. As the two of them shake, John says that it's not a problem. The mission stays confidential, just between soldiers. We have many, many more side stories for Civil War II to go through, and like I said, they're more interesting than the main plot to me, so I hope you guys are enjoying these as much as I am. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time, right here.